When we're not confident, we will experience a shiny object syndrome, imposter, syndrome. We try to look for different solutions. Um, some people would be purchasing different programs, different tools, asking for services from different coaches or consultants, and you get bombarded with a lot of these things all together in your table, in your desktop. Then you get so much confused. You become very confused that you become stuck. And when you get to that mode, anxiety happens.
What's up? Welcome to the Women Who Lead Summit. I am so excited that you're here. I am really excited about everything that's been happening, all of the lessons, all of the strategies, all of the mindset stuff. It's been so freaking cool. I have had such a great time speaking with such amazing speakers. And today we're going to be diving deep into the challenges that a lot of entrepreneurs face, which is anxiety. Now, whether it's fear of failure, fear of success, self-doubt, or overwhelm, the pressure is building, right? And so when you start to create a business, it's really something that just comes along with it is a little bit of anxiety, but sometimes it keeps us stuck and it keeps us second guessing. And how do we do this? And every move we make, is it the right move or not the right move? And this is what really is a topic that a lot of people don't like talking about. So today we are going to talk about it. Okay. So I have an absolute powerhouse with me. Her name is Mel Baguio. I probably said it all messed up, but I really like her. She's a transformational and anxiety healing coach, the creator of Arise and Breakthrough, and the author of Heal Anxiety and Transform Your Life Now. Now, Mel has helped leaders and business owners, professionals, all of us heal from past experiences and overcome anxiety to unlock the confidence that all entrepreneurs need to thrive. So, if you've ever felt held back, I totally get it. But all of this self-doubt and fear and anxiety and all of that, that's what Mel is here for. Mel is here to give us a roadmap to break free and thrive in business. So let's just dive right in and have her come to the stage. Hola, how are you, Mel?
Hello, Nina. Hello.
I know. I have a lot of energy, Mel. I should have probably warned you.
I know. I
I
watched
know
your
it's early in
video.
the morning. Yeah, I'm always like this. It's 8 in the morning, and I'm like, ah. Anywho,
Oh,
it's really nice to see you, Mel, and thank you for talking about such a topic that many people don't like to touch, right? Because we don't want anybody to think we have anxiety, and when you're starting your own business, you don't want people to think that it's a weakness or anything like that. And so when me and you were talking, and you're like, I really teach and work with a lot of people in anxiety. I was like, that's a great topic. So I'm really glad you're here. So welcome. Um, Anxiety is something that I used to suffer with anxiety. I used to suffer with anxiety and depression many years ago with all the trauma in my life. It was very difficult. It was challenging, and it used to make me feel like I couldn't get forward. I just couldn't go, right? So I know that this is something many entrepreneurs struggle with, and yet not a lot of people like talking about it. They might talk about it maybe in their little circles, but they don't really talk about this much, and I think it is something that needs to be spoken about more. So I wanted to start off by asking you, like, what made you start talking about it? What led you to specialize in helping people with anxiety?
well, thank you so much for the introduction and also for inviting me over. Actually, I've been coaching and mentoring a lot of professionals as a manager before, and a lot of people would come to me for help, and this would be about their common tasks at work. And eventually, when I look at the common denominator of them, it will be about anxiety. The stories running in our minds. So we will be coming up with stories and we keep on replaying them again and again. And what happens is that a lot of times our worries and concerns are not even true. These are just made up stories. Now, the reason why I really try to focus on anxiety per se is because not only that a lot of people are suffering from anxiety, but because of the impact that it's having on their lives, they become hopeless, and eventually um, their outlook in life, they become pessimistic, they become hopeless to the point of they want to end their lives. So I'm on a mission to really uplift them, to bring light, hope, and I hope to really decrease or stop suicide.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful. What a mission. That actually touched me because I tried to commit suicide. And also the fact that when I tried to commit suicide when I was about 13 years old. My life was pretty bad. And I, I had a boyfriend that was beating me up all the time. So it was like a lot of that stuff. Right. And then I kept living my life. Thank God. I tried to commit suicide. It didn't work. Thank you, God, that it didn't work. But when I was older, I never dealt with those issues that I was supposed to deal with inside. And so when I had a son at 15 years old, I was a very young mother. And then I had a second son at 21 years old, still very young. And when I had my second son, nobody really talked to me or told me about like postpartum depression or how to like get through things, all that kind of stuff. I just kind of white knuckled it and just did it. But I remember thinking, I should just ram my car into a tree, or I should just take my car off a bridge. Like that kind of stuff, right? The dark stuff that happens when you have anxiety and you don't know what to do. So I'm really, grateful to you, Mel, for taking the time and the moments to stop and listen to the people who were talking to you and to think, how can I help these people, and to be on a mission to stop something like somebody ending their life is a powerful mission now. That's huge, right? And that will help so many people because so many people are living in that space. And unfortunately, with social media and everything else, we're getting triggered all the time, right? There's all of these things, all of this information, all these pictures, all this stuff telling us we're not good enough, we're not valid enough, we're not worthy enough, like all of that stuff, right? And I know that there are really big triggers that happen with anxiety, and especially for entrepreneurs. Now, I work with women, right? So because I work with women, I see sometimes they always say, I'm overwhelmed, or I'm having anxiety over this, Neena, or I don't really know how to do this, right? So what I wanted to go into next with you is for you to discuss with us, what are the biggest anxiety triggers for entrepreneurs, and especially women, because that's who I work with, but entrepreneurs, right? When they're trying to build a business, and how does the past traumas like the one I just described to you, right, or our life experiences show up in this business anxiety? I know for me what it was, but I would love for you to talk to these women about what are the biggest anxiety triggers that you're seeing, and how is it that our past traumas are showing up in this business anxiety? Does that make sense?
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, so far with what I've seen with entrepreneurs and also with leaders is that when they're stuck in business, when they don't know how to move forward, unable to move the needle, or not knowing what to do, okay, these are some of the things that are triggers. And with that, we can see lack of confidence, as you mentioned earlier. And then it's, if I would say, it's like I would be rooting this coming from lack of faith and trust, if coming from a believer of God. So there's this factor of lack of faith and trust in God. Because if we have that faith in God and trusting in Him, we just have to move one step at a time, knowing that good things lie before us. That eventually things will form in its own shape. And another thing I would say is when, especially for entrepreneurs, because as entrepreneurs, there's no one who's going to give us salaries, right? Our our payment for ourselves will be coming from our efforts, from the clients normally. So what happens is that as entrepreneurs, we'll be making efforts and we keep on thinking of ourselves. And when we are too consumed about ourselves, our business, my business, what I'm gonna do, that's the time wherein we really get into anxiety. And then when it's bottled up, then it goes to depression. Okay? Now, one way to I'm sure we can go later on how to move from anxiety to freedom from anxiety would be one way is to get out of being just thinking of ourselves, and let's just think of serving others. Okay, that's one thing. Um, Regarding the post trauma that you mentioned earlier, um, there is an impact of what the experiences that we had in the past. So when a person has experienced strong family belongingness and acceptance, unconditional love, um, sense of belongingness, it it will positively impact one's confidence, unconditional acceptance for oneself, self-esteem. Okay, and when a person has a traumatic experience, it's the opposite. So the way that a person would see herself, it will be a lot negative. It's it's different from having a positive confidence. Then if you have a traumatic experience, you look at yourself as being unloved, unlovable, someone who's not good enough, always lacking, always seeking for um, acknowledgement, and these are the things that happen for people who would like to please other people, and then eventually, um, of course, in terms of confidence, you lose part of yourself. It's like part of you is supposed to be whole. There's this space of emptiness. So confidence, there's a high there's a correlation between confidence and anxiety. When we're not confident, we will experience a shiny object syndrome, imposter, okay, syndrome. We try to look for different solutions. Um, some people would be purchasing different programs, different tools, asking for services from different coaches or consultants, and you get bombarded with a lot of these things all together in your table, in your desktop. Then you get so much confused. You become very confused that you become stuck. And when you get to that mode, anxiety happens because again you keep on thinking, how do I earn, how do I serve people, how do I move the needle, how do I go up and move forward in my business, how can I earn, how can I pay the bills. So again, it's thinking more about thriving and about yourself. So anxiety comes in. So definitely there's a relationship between traumatic experiences and how we are feeling right now, the anxiety that we're having, and I hope that people will not get into depression later on because anxiety was not dealt properly. So eventually we become stressful. We get overwhelmed with so much information um, available because we want to really we get to a point where the entrepreneurs will get to a point where I just want to make this happen. So you're exploring a lot of options. At the end, you're not doing. You're stuck because of a lot of information. You get information overload.
Oh my God, that is so true. Oh, Mel, that is so, you said so many things there, right? You said so many things because I remember when I first started doing, leading women, it was like in 2002. And I did the same thing, right? Too much information, trying to learn everything, becoming a master of none because you have too much overload. And I was very good at when I just focused on the women and what I was teaching. I was a Christian leader for women, right? I did my certifications in Christian leadership for women. And so I was helping women learn their value, their worth, who they were in God, reading the Bible, like all that kind of stuff. And those women's lives transformed. And that was in 2002, and they still follow and are friends with me today, right? So it shows you the power of being intentional about what it is you want to do. Um, so I agree with you because one of the biggest issues now, right? 2002 was there was no social media, there was none of that. You know, it was just you with your friends in a living room, and you were talking real stuff. You know, and I think I wish we could go back to that a little bit. You know, not that social media should go away, because I think we also as people, like, you're in a whole different country across the water. I am here, you know, and the truth is we can still have a conversation. So it's a beautiful thing, but it also can do what you talked about, which is the information overload, which makes you feel like you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you can't do it. But the truth is our brains are not equipped for all of the information. It's too much, right? And I love when you said, you know, as entrepreneurs, you're trying to get there. You're just trying to get there. Like, what is there? That's the other thing. We don't always define what there is, right? We're just trying to get there, right? Whether it's, I want to earn $1 million. It shouldn't be about the earning the $1 million. It should be about what's the next step in your journey. But we always look too far sometimes to this idea. I remember when I was starting it, I'm like, I want to just earn six figures. I want to be six figures. I want to be six figures. I got six figures, and then I'm like, oh, it felt like everything else. Like, you know, the truth is I needed to be part of the journey. How do I get there? What is the person I'm becoming, right? And so I love that you said if you don't deal with those things, that's when it starts to become the depression piece, right? Right. Very good. That was so good. I was like, wow, she's like dropping so much knowledge here. So I want to now shift a little bit and talk about what it means. How do we break free from this, right? I want to know what the common mistakes are when we are trying to, just like I told you before, I was white knuckling it. I'm going to get through it, right? And it wasn't until I did other things that I was able to get through it. So I wanted to talk to you because you're an expert in this, and this is what you've written about, this is what you do. I want you to talk about what are some of the mistakes that we are probably making as entrepreneurs trying to get through or push through the anxiety. Maybe you can share some powerful techniques, some ways to shift our minds to help us stop the anxiety the minute it starts to happen. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, some of the common mistakes I would say, with what I've heard so far, there are people who would be taking some medications and they will be addicted to those medications. And some of them would probably, after a number of years being dependent on the medications, it made them feel a lot worse, according to them. I haven't really taken these medicines, but that's the feedback that I got from them. And some of the clients that I had, because of the anxiety that they had, to cover up, okay, because there are two things actually. One thing is people would try to harm themselves. They might get into suicide or suicide or beat themselves up, you know, keep on blaming themselves to the point that they cannot take a bath or eat properly. In terms of socialization, they really suffer a lot. And then another thing would be on the other side would be they would get into how can I make myself happy? How do I get myself to the mode of having pleasure? So they might get into toxic relationships. Okay, they will be very dependent on toxic relationships. That I did have clients. um, who would really be on a pattern of toxic relationships. They cannot break free from that. Another one would be in terms of addiction. Okay. And then, of course, eventually they get stuck, they procrastinate, and then these are actually some of the ways that people would cope with anxiety. And then for the powerful technique, th- I would say that the massive change that I had, um, which is, I would say, catalyst, it was when I really placed my trust in God. Um, as you are having said a while ago, it's a journey for entrepreneur because I am one as well. So I placed my trust in God in the sense that um, it's building a more intimate relationship with Him, and with that comes a stronger faith um, happens, and this can be done in simple ways. It doesn't have to be very profound. Like what I do is, upon waking up, I kneel down, I thank the Lord, I acknowledge Him, and I would just say, "Thank you, Lord. Um, I worship and bless you." Those are very powerful words that I really feel the grace of God coming upon me. That there's a massive shift that happens whenever I say that. Of course, there's a private moment with God as well, but it's a different thing. And when there's a chance to play a worship song or even sing a worship song, that adds to that, and it further builds stronger faith and trust. I'm not sure if you know the Apostle Creed, but it begins with "I believe in God." Now I've heard someone mention about this, and it really struck me. How can I say that I believe in God when I don't trust Him? So um, that was when awake. I was awakened and said, "Oh my, that's this is real." So that was the time when I said, "How can I really believe it if I'm not placing my trust?" So believing is different from trusting, but when done together, it's powerful. So we do our part. I would do my part, and then trusting that good things lie before me, lie before us. And because His promise is real, He said that He's beside us. His plan for our future is to prosper and give hope, and that we seek His will, and then all things will just add up. And for practical ways, I would say we have to get to a state of happiness because the opposite of anxiety is, of course, happiness and joy. And for us to get to that level, again, it's not rocket science. We just have to build that joy. And one thing that I've taught my clients is to be grateful. It's a very simple habit that we can form, yet the impact is profound. Like there's really a shift that happens in an instant. It's not like we have to wait for 1 hour for us to feel the impact. So what I tell them is every morning there's a journal, okay? And then every morning just write down three um, things that you're deeply grateful for, and just write them down every morning. And then before retiring at night, before sleeping, again write down three things that you've accomplished. So when you do that in the morning, when you write down the three things that you're deeply grateful for, you become a positive person. Remember, the anxious person is someone who always looks at things um, negatively. Like if you're looking at a glass of water, you always see the glass of water as half empty instead of half full. That's how an anxious person thinks. Because an anxious person has a lot of stories that run to his mind, to her mind. Now, a joyful person, when we think about the things that we're deeply grateful for, you will suddenly feel joy. There's a shift that will happen. That is what's going to happen in the morning. Now, in the evening before sleeping, you're going to write down the three things that you've accomplished so far during the day. How little it be, it's not important. Just write it down. After writing it down, what happens is that your confidence level increases. Why? Because you're having an evidence that you are worthy, you're capable, you have skills, you have knowledge. And doing this on a daily basis, there's a compounded effect in the confidence of a person. That person becomes empowered, more able, more joyful. So gratitude is really the key. And for someone who's grateful, it's like going to a room. It's gloomy. Okay, you just see it. You just feel it. It's gloomy. It's dark, and then suddenly there's a shift because of gratitude. It's become it's lighter from darkness to light. So these are um, these are powerful techniques, I would say, but very simple. It's something that I'd like to impart with your audience.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with that more. You know, God is a huge piece of my life. Huge. Like, I love him so much. And when I was through my anxiety and depression, that's exactly what you just described, is exactly what I did to overcome. I journaled what I was grateful for. And I also looked at what I did for the day. And even simple things, people think it has to be big things. It doesn't have to be big things. You know, when I first started, because I was full of anxiety and depression, I I really didn't feel like I had too many things to be grateful for, because when you're in a dark place, it's very hard. But what I started to do was say, I'm thankful for my vision. I'm thankful for my legs. I'm thankful for the air in my lungs, right? All the simple things that you're like, I don't have anything to be grateful for, at the same time while you're using your voice, at the same time while you're using your mind. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care how little it is right now, because sometimes you have to start with the little, the small, or what you think is little and small. Because let me tell you, Mel, one thing that put me into perspective is, I have a friend of mine, she has no arms, right? So she was born with no arms, but she's an artist. She paints with her feet, right? And she has children. She has three children she takes care of, that she dresses and changes with her feet. She's incredible, right? And somebody said to her once, we want to pray for you to get arms. We want to pray for God to just grow your arms in. And she goes, absolutely not. God created me perfect. I am perfect the way I am. I love not having arms. That's who I am, right? And that made me like shift my perspective, because I realized I have so much to be grateful for, right? Because if she's grateful that God has given her legs and feet to use and not arms, who am I that have arms and feet and legs? And you know what I mean? Like, there's always something you can be grateful for. And you're right. I love when you said, then you can look back and see like all that you have and how far you've come. And that's so freaking true. That's so true. But I love that you're anchoring a lot of this in faith. You're anchoring a lot of this in God and in what true joy means. Joy doesn't mean be happy all the time. Yay! That's not what joy means, right? It's getting up the next day because you know there's a God that loves you, because you know there's a God that you can trust. And when you said that, I'm like, wow, that's so true. Do I love God just because I love him, or do I trust him? there's a big difference. Thank you for that. That was absolutely beautiful. I didn't even know we were going to go into this beautiful spiritual road, but I'm so glad we did, because I actually run my coaching business by letting people know that I love and trust God first.
Uh-huh.
And so if they want to be a part of my coaching, program, they have to know that that is who I am, right? Because I think for too long when I started entrepreneurship, I didn't want to talk about God too much because I don't want to offend anybody, right? And then I realized, how dare I, when he's the one that gave me the gift of the business, you know? And so I decided no more. So people have to know who I am, and I'm a Christian, period, right? So what I wanted to talk to you about is how these women can thrive in business despite what they feel is anxiety, right? Because anxiety holds people back so much from getting on camera, being visible, doing a summit like this one, right? Maybe they don't even know that they could charge a little bit more for what they know and do because they don't feel like they're worth charging more, right? So, and I've even spoken to people who don't want to even step into their leadership roles because, I mean, they just don't think they're good enough, right? They think it's too much. So, how do you coach your clients through that? How do you coach them through getting rid of that anxiety so it doesn't hold them back anymore, right? I want you to talk to us about that, the advice that you give someone who maybe is even watching this right now and is completely like paralyzed by self doubt. They heard what you just said and everything, but they know they want to do more, but they just are too afraid. They have anxiety of that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I
Again,
think that's important to help them with that. Yeah.
yes. Thank you for that. I hope that your listeners are taking down notes because I probably would share them a couple of tips or things that I share with my clients. One thing is for them to pause, the power of pause. Just pause for a while and just look inside you. You've you've faced something. You've faced difficulties and challenges before. You've done it already. You can do it again. There's power within you. God has empowered each one of us. He has given us dominion from all creatures in earth. We are powerful. We are born in His image and likeness. So just have that confidence. Just have faith in yourself. And another thing is, if you will be facing camera, or you will go on stage and have some speaking engagement, you can place your right hand over your chest, your heart, and close your eyes and just prayerfully call Jesus 10 times. Peace, calm will come to your heart, and everything will turn out okay. One thing that this one worked for me. Um, when I told myself it's not about me, it's about them. It was a shift. There was a massive shift because the story that usually runs in the minds of entrepreneurs and people who would be going out there and being visible is, how do I look like? What are the things that I need to say? Instead of just thinking about them, what do they need and what do I have that I can give them? So it's not about me, it's about them. It's about serving them. And I like what you said earlier, that it's the journey, not always looking at the destination, not always looking at I need to earn this much. Because when we think of that, sometimes anxiety creeps in when we think that way. So when we think about the journey and one step at a time, it also helps. Another mindset would be, um, let's look at anxiety as being a habit. Remember, a habit can always be broken. So when anxiety comes in, we can just say, oh, it's just a habit. I'm not doing it again. It's another thing. With regards to visibility and having confidence and going out there, charging more, I also have like a three-part video series that it's very short. It's a very short in terms of its form and length, and it's three-part. So it tackles about confidence, and these are the areas that can help them with. Um, so actually, doubt really happens when you don't have that confidence and competence. So I would say working with a coach, if it's a business, I think working with you, because you're a business coach, working with you would help people know the exact plan, how to reach the destination. It's like going to a country and then you have a map. It's a new place and you have a map and you want to go to this place. And there are different points of going there. But if you have a tourist guide, you will be guided. So the distance, the duration, the speed of going there is a lot faster. And there are different tips because the tourist guide will tell you don't go to that place because it's dangerous. Don't go to this place because the food is not good there. Or this place is a lot cheaper. You can use this transportation. You can use this tool. So it's a lot better if you have a coach and a guide because that person will not only give you guidance but also will help in terms of accountability and giving you tips and tools. So I think that would really help them.
I think so too. I think you're 100% right. And there's so much, you have left so much out here for everyone today, because this was such a gift of a conversation, Mel. I'm glad that we met. I'm glad that we talked about the topic and what you wanted to share. And I'm very grateful to you for giving us a perspective of incorporating faith into what we do in our business and what we have and all the gifts that we are really are. Like we have all a story. We really have things that can connect with another human being. And I wish that we would stop thinking that we need a million followers and a million likes and all that kind of stuff. It's just not true. And it's just show up for people in authenticity, show up with people with truth, with knowledge, and just do what it is you're good at. You don't have to copycat anybody else. And when we try to copycat other people, that's where the anxiety comes in because we're not congruent. We're not matching what we're trying to do in life. And this was such a powerful session. I truly am grateful to you. I'm grateful for all the knowledge. And I now want to ask you to tell us how people can find you, if you have a free gift for them, like all of that stuff so that they can connect with you. You're very calm, Mel. Like you're so different than me. I'm so and calm. And she's like,
Yeah.
zen. I'm like, I need a little bit of Mel in my body, in my life, because I'm so over the top. But so if you can,
Yes.
if you can guide them in that, like, oh, I'm sorry, if you can guide them in telling them what you have for them, but also how they can connect with you further, please.
Yes, I have a free ebook which I will share with them. And in that ebook, there are different tips on how to handle anxiety and some tips and techniques as well. Plus, there's a link that they can connect with me just in case they would like to have a conversation with me with regards to anxiety and healing and transformation as well.
Okay, so they can find everything there. And what I'm going to need is your link. I think you might have sent it already, but the link is to make sure that they can connect with you, Mel. You are really a gift. You're a gift. Thank you so much for
Thank you
being
so
the Women
much.
Who Lead. Thank you. This was amazing.
Thank
I
you.
feel so refreshed and calm. I feel so calm. You're such a
I'm really
calm
like
person.
this. I'm really like this. Yeah.
I believe it. I believe it. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and Mel. She was just such a gift today, such a blessing. And I hope that you were really listening and taking notes and paying attention because, you know, when somebody is already helped people with this and they come on here to share all of that wisdom with you, just pause. Like she said, just pause for a second and take in all of that beautiful knowledge and put it to use though. Don't just take the knowledge and do nothing. Take the knowledge and put it to use. Okay? Be grateful for things in your life. Write things down. Shift your focus. Invite God in, right? Like these are all of the amazing tips she left throughout this whole interview. I want you guys to really just think about how you're going to shift your perspective so that you realize you already have everything you need inside of you. You really, really do. You are worth everything. Everything. And if you are a believer, you're worth everything to God because He died for you, right? And so I want you to just take that in, the love of God and how deep that is, so that you can realize the worth that you have. And then nothing can stop you because it won't matter if you make $1 billion. What'll matter is how you impact the lives of others and how you can show up every day authentically like you without any no holds bars or fake or whatever. Don't do any of that because it doesn't even feel right in your body. Just be you, show up as you. We'll love you anyway. And if we don't, too bad for us, right? Like just show up and let the right people find you, be with you, work with you. You don't have to work with everybody. There's billions of people in the world. You don't want to, but you do want to work with the right ones. But if you show up as you, God will open up the door for the right people to show up. So thank you guys for hanging out with me and Mel. This was an absolute blessing for me to start the day off like this. All right, guys, until next
Thank you
time.
so much.